And I was holding his hand. I was telling him it was going to be all right. But I didn't know. I didn't know it was going to be all right. And they told me he was out and I could go then. And I promised him that I'd be there the whole time, even though I knew it wasn't going to be able to. Hey, how are you doing? It's Alan here from Look for Warriors, and I want to talk about Think and Grow Rich. So, there's a piece in the book towards the end, a paragraph that I was just like, wow, I had to mark it. And it was like, if you've ever received something for which you've prayed for, think back and recall the state of mind you were in when you prayed for that. Now I have received things which I've prayed for. I have a number of things, but one really sticks out in my mind. My son was 11, 10 or 11, and he had to go in for an operation. And it's a really painful thing, you know. I would have liked to go in and do the operation for him, but there's some things that you just can't do for people. You know, you can't die for someone else. Everyone has to do that on their own. And you can't have an operation for someone else. Everyone has to do that on their own. And it was scary, you know. I know that sometimes we think operations now are standard, but any operation, people have died with doing cosmetic operations. Any operation is serious. Anytime they're cutting you open, it's a very serious thing. And this was a very, very serious thing. And it was scary. I was really, really, really scared. Really scared. But I didn't want to show that for him. And this is difficult. And I held his hand and we went into, he was sitting on the, whatever you call it, it's not a bed, it's like a trolley kind of thing. They bring in the operation on. And I was holding his hand and they were talking to him. There was 3 or 4 kind of like, I don't know what they are, like maybe not doctors, but kind of nurses and orderlies and stuff like that around. And they were giving him the gas. And I was holding his hand. I was telling him it was going to be all right. But I didn't know. I didn't know it was going to be all right. And they told me he was out and I could go then. And I promised him that I'd be there the whole time, even though I knew it wasn't going to be able to. And I went out and I went outside. And I had this weird kind of ball of energy inside me. Spinning. It was so painful. And I went outside. I needed some air. I went outside. And I called out to God. And I said, listen, look after him for me. Look after him for me. I want him to be all right. And so that was that. Now what was really difficult was when they told me that they would allow me to come back up to the room before he woke up. And but then I got a call that he was awake already. Actually, I was outside because I couldn't handle the emotions, to be honest with you. And I was outside walking around, but they called down to my wife and she went up to him. And he was freaked out because he woke up and he saw like doctors with blood, aprons with blood in them and stuff. And I can understand he was completely freaked out. And I was upset that they didn't tell me, you know. They didn't tell us that he was waking up until he was already awake. And I wanted to be there for him. But he came out and he was okay. The operation was a complete success, and he was okay. And a few days later, I called out to God again, or whatever you want to call it. Like, it doesn't have to be God, like it's the universe. Or I believe, if you want to know what my actual beliefs are, I believe that we remain dead. I believe that there's when we're born, there's a part of us, a part of our spirit that's absolutely born, but there's also a part of our spirit that never comes into this reality. And you can still converse with it. It'll still give you advice. And I said, what can I do? I really appreciate that. He came out the other side. What can I do to show you that? How can I show you? And what came to me is, the next beggar you see, the next homeless guy, next guy sitting inside the road, give him something. So I was working somewhere later. I remember I was on the bus or something. I was waiting for a bus in the city centre, and funnily enough, a homeless guy walked up to me and he said, "Listen, mate, I want to get a hostel for the night, but I'm €5 short for the hostel. Can you give me €5 for the hostel?" And I took €20 out of my pocket and I gave it to him. So there you go. And he was very grateful. But I wasn't giving it to him. He could have gone and spent it on heroin. It didn't make any difference to me. I wasn't giving it to him. I was giving it back to the universe. I was giving it to whoever saved my son. And he was really grateful, and he went, he came up to give me a hug. I didn't want the hug. And he went off. And that was difficult for me. You know, €20 for some people is nothing. But you know, when you have a family and stuff, sometimes things are a bit tight, and €20 can be a lot of money. That was a lot for me. And I was just giving it back, and I was listening to Thomas Sheridan. I don't know if you know Thomas Sheridan. He's on YouTube. I was listening to him, and it was very interesting. He's a pagan now. I wouldn't consider myself a pagan, but I like what he was saying. He was kind of saying that when he was younger, he was working, I don't know, with Financial Centre or something in Dublin. He was making a lot of money, and he'd go out at the weekend, and he would, you know, spend €200-300 on drink every weekend. And at one stage, he realized, like, what am I doing? I'm wasting my money here. This is a waste of money. And he said, instead of doing this, I'm going to find someone. I'm going to go, he said, instead of this, I'm going to go put my money into 20s, and I'm going to go walk around the city centre and find every beggar, every homeless guy, anyone sitting on the side of the street, and I'm going to give them all €20. So he'd walk around and he'd give them all €20, then he'd give them €200 or €300 out. And I imagined that. And he says, he as well as exactly what I say in that moment, is he was saying that he didn't care what he spent the money on. He wasn't giving the money conditionally. They can go and spend on heroin if that's what they want to do, or they can go and get a hostel or whatever they want to do with it. But he's not giving the money conditionally. He's giving the money to them, and they can hold on to it. They can choose. He's just giving the money to them, and he's not really giving the money to them. He's giving the money back to the universe. And he has said, and I think this is probably true, he has said that money has come back to him in many, many other ways. And I think that's probably true. I think he understands the whole energies. He understands the whole energies a lot deeper than I do, but I do know that there's certainly energies there, and I do think what you give does come back to you. I don't fully understand it all. But I remember listening to that, and he would have a slightly different belief system to me, but I think that I was like listening, going, yeah, right. I don't know if I want to give away. I don't know if I want to give away €300 or €400 every week, but I hear you. And when I was given that money, I was giving it back to the universe or the energies or whatever saved my son. Whatever saved my son, because I know there's a chance that he may have never came back out of there again. And I've had lots of other similar situations. And when I'm reading this Think and Grow Rich book, it says, think back to a time when you've gotten something that you've asked for. And I've had a number of things, but that's just one of them. And they're all very, very, very personal. And you may say, well, operations are standard now. He was going to come out anyway, no matter what. But I don't care what you say. I didn't know he was going to come out of there, and he did. And you will never, ever convince me that there wasn't some kind of energy or some kind of force that protected him. You'll never convince me. And that's what this Think and Grow Rich book is talking about. And I'm thinking back, so I'm reading this paragraph where it says, think back to a time where you were given something that you asked for. And what frame of mind were you in when you asked for that? And I can remember exactly the frame of mind I was in. I was in the frame of mind of pain. And then we all go there. Then we all ask for something when we're in immense pain. And then when things are going great, we forget about it. Maybe, I don't know. But, so the paragraph says, think about a time when you were given something that you asked for. Think about the frame of mind you were in at that time. And I can remember the exact frame of mind. The exact frame of mind. Completely powerless. Completely powerless. Completely needing help and asking for help. And completely knowing that there was nothing that I could do. I needed some sort of force to do this for me, because there was nothing that I could do in order to make it happen. I can't go in there and do that operation. I can't even give the doctor a shoulder rub to make him do the operation better. I just had to stand outside and try to take in oxygen and try to stay calm. And allow this ball of incredible, unbelievable energy just spin around in my stomach. And just get through it. But, so, for the things I want in the future now, I've got to, according to this book, when I'm reading this book, it's saying you've got to think back to the frame of mind you were in. I was in that very, very, very intense frame of mind, calling out for help, and knowing that I could do nothing about it. That I was completely powerless, but there was a power that was strong enough to make sure he was okay and to protect him. And it wasn't me. Or maybe it was partially me. Maybe it was the spirit part of me that could do that. But certainly the physical me here couldn't help in any way. And so can we get back, if you could think of a time where you were in a similar situation and you asked for help, can you think back at that time what frame of mind you were in, and can we get into that frame of mind again? So that's what I'm going to be trying to do. Get into that frame of mind again. Hopefully not with the same situation, but being able to move into that frame of mind and asking for help from the universe or from whatever's out there. There's probably no point in putting a name on it. This has been Alan here from Look for Warriors, talking about Think and Grow Rich and getting into that frame of mind where you get what you've asked for.